Game 2 will be coming up shortly. I'll hand it back over to Wuffy and the real TJ DJ.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
And thank you for your insight and, of course, prayers to Lord Pleb and his family. We are going into draft number 2, which is going to be on Stone Keep. TJ, my boy, my friend, my old chap, what is going on Leviathan?
Old chap, I'm younger than you. So Leviathan, they have gone to the ban on Torvald and Leon. They will draft the Furia, Ash, Charlene, Inara, and Cassie. What's going on Crysis, you old dog?
Well, old dog, yeah. You can't learn an old mod new tricks, but I still have some things up my sleeve with the bans being Khan and Makoa, while they went through with some very essential picks. Drogos and Droxus, Willow, 2 blasters. Fernando and Maldamba. This is the first time I've ever seen Drogos and Willow be played on the same composition. In this league. I'm going
to say, like, wow, is this really a first for you?
No, not a first in general, but a first in this league, and I'm very excited for that one.
Yeah, man. Stonekeeper's just got a lot of areas where you're going to find yourself grouped up if you take the fight on the right side in the keep, or you go down towards the lower area, towards the point. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a tapestry in there. You know the place I'm on about. The single room area connecting the high grounds together. But yeah, there's a lot of doorways, there's a lot of archways where you're going to find yourself drawn together. So going against Willow and Drogos is going to be pretty nasty. Predictions based on draft, please, Waffle.
Well, you know what? When it comes to draft, like my heart and my draft predictions and my ability to analyze the situation is just blinking in the right direction. Ding, ding, ding. Here's a winner. I am 100% certain I'm 100% in favor of Crysis. There's no doubt about that. Their draft is absolutely amazing.
But didn't you say your predictions was Leviathan?
Yeah, but then I saw the draft.
No, that's not how this works, Waffle.
Yes, that's how it works.
You can't just change your mind.
Okay, say that to every single person in this entire world who says one thing and then the other the day after. But they will still, like, Leviathan will still win, but I still have my heart on Crysis' draft. I mean, I will not deny that their draft is much better in my opinion.
I think that was a problem of how I worded the question, what your predictions are. We know what the predictions are, we just did them. I should have said, what do you think of the drafts?
Well, so, I'm going to go, I think, in draft-wise, Leviathan has it. Now, here's why. They're running a double tank comp with double hit scan. Now, double hit scan is incredibly difficult to deal with versus a double blast, where double blast against a double hit scan loses out. And they're running a solo tank Fernando on the side of Crysis. So
that's a few that's
very hard. Now, early game, Crysis have it in the bag, like really aggression. If the two blast players focus down the hit scan, or because they're not going to do anything to the Inara or the Ash, sadly. If they can get rid of the sustain, then that's great. But as I keep harping on of weeks after weeks after weeks, and that is if you just leave an Inara on the point and you just run around killing everything else, and guess what? By the time you get to Inara, she's already capped. So
Fate week 1.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So I have to. I'm going to say Leviathan draft-wise wins this. And even though my prediction was Crysis to win the thing, after seeing this draft, I have to say Leviathan will win this game.
Hey, you can't change your mind. If I can't, you can't either.
You know what? I own MLL. So I'm going to say, yeah, Leviathan are going to win it on draft. And but Crysis, I don't think this draft was smart. And let me explain why. Yes, you had that Androxus to take away the counter for the Drogos. But what's it going to do? Right now, what is it going to do? The Furia will actually counter him. Beam straight into your stun by dead. Goodbye. He's not going to do that much damage unless he's going to go in punching, but then they just turn their prioritization to him. He dies. There's nothing he can do in this lineup. I think that should have been if you wanted to run the double blast, that's great. But obviously Torvald was banned, the Khan was banned, the Makoa was banned. What does that leave? Tank-wise, you had a Ruckus, maybe.
Barrack.
Yeah, Barrack would have probably been a better option, and that gives you a second shield. But then you're going up against the Nara, Cassie, and Charlene both could take wreck, and then there's no shields at all. I cannot see Crysis winning this game. Not with that draft.
Well, thank you for your predictions. We will be right back as we sync up for game number 2 between Leviathan and Crysis. You're watching the Legacy League week number 2. And this is the matchup, Leviathan versus Crysis. My name is WoofyGG, and our co-caster is The Real TJ, and our host is GTJ. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome aboard to game number 2 between Leviathan Esports and Crysis. Let's go through to the rosters. On the side of Crysis, we have Toxi on the combustible Drogos, Fraza on the hits will roll, and Roxas, Rip Julian playing the Nightshade Willow, Snoofy on the Scorch Fernando, and Snoz playing the Spirit's Chosen Maldamba. CJ, what's going on Leviathan?
Your team on the red side for Stonekeep is Leviathan. Whoops. With the Solar Blessing of Fioria, it's going to be P. James, I Cry Like a Duck with the Fortress Breaker, Ash, Tired on the Recurve, Charlene, the Toxicats playing Mother's Grace Inara, and Noah with the Impulse Cassie. The fight has broken out.
Here in the middle of Castle, there is a lot of brilliant Fire Spit combos being fired off here from Crysis, and First Blood is actually going in favor of Leviathan due to some quick reactions from Tired. Now, okay, also getting a hold on to Fraza. That is 2 for 0, and even with one member low on HP.
Yeah, and we're gonna say this every time we find ourselves playing on Stonekeep. There was that fight was going on. There was an Inara on point. That's she got 30% uncontested for the side of Leviathan. I also take the point that Crysis aren't really in a position to contest when they find themselves 2 players down. But here we go at the moment, Leviathan 84% on the point. Crysis just moving on because a kill has came through onto Noah, and Fraza is not happy. He heard me. He wants to get a kill onto the Toxcat, but he's going to fly away from switch his focus. He's going to lamp out Tired on these steps, and Leviathan have to back all the way. Whew.
Well, respect where respect is due. Fraza is really showing promise on this Androxus pick, getting pick after pick, and with 72% on the payload push, or the capture, it does actually look to be the case of Crysis getting this first point. Unless the Toxicat is a part of the conversation, and that's definitely the case. A Cursed Arm activated, and I Crack Like a Duck dies.
Yeah, Leviathan trying to engage the fight there with the Inflames and the Toxicat pushing on, but it's the Cursed Arm which is going to counter-engage them with a 2-for-1 trade on a team fight. There is the Immortal Pot, and the Crysis support is down. Fraza falls as well to Noah. It's 99%. But just when we thought Crysis were going to get this, Leviathan come back, win that team fight, getting more picks, and we have a Leviathan objective captured.
How many times can they keep repeating this process before they're satisfied? Like, I'm reminiscing, like, there was a time where matches were different, and now is a time where they can do the same thing consistently all the time. They could actually be brilliant chefs because they're consistent. And right now, Fraza going down to I Quack Like a Duck together with Toxi. Crysis is now on the receiving end of a lot of pain.
Crysis are just a little bit too staggered right now, not able to get a defense. As the Leviathan just keep the pain train rolling, going into the final stage of this push, going to that last choke point. But this is where Crysis should find it easier to defend. This is what favors their composition, that massive archway. But it's not going to do it if you're going to lose your Drogos as Noah picks up the kill onto Toxic. Fraza's trying to get some return damage, hits the headshot. He's going to never step around, trying to look for the kill onto Fraza, and using that punch, Noah pulls the great escape behind the Fortress Breaker Ash. So that's the action going on the high ground. The Toxicat, finding himself really low, will fall to Rip Julian, and there goes Noah, who also falls with I Quack Like a Duck double kill going over to Toxki, and but cancel that, it's a triple kill. And
Oh,
Leviathan,
baby, a triple!
oh baby, a triple! Having to back off here and regroup, but they have time. 57 seconds left on the clock.
That is really top. Like, this is the first time where I look at Toxi and is like, why didn't you just play damage to begin with? You are brilliant. Quack Like a Duck is pulled back. He's normally the one controlling the whole point for himself. The Seismic Crest being activated onto Crysis is not really gonna do much because they still have a Drogo's well healthy and he's dealing that essential damage. P. James has to say goodnight and say hello to the respawn timer.
Yeah, that engaged by Leviathan with the seismic crash. Tide went in with the heat haze. I think maybe a bit of a communication issue there. Because the seismic crash went down, no one was actually stunned, and Tide trying to get down on the front line, but he was facing 4 players by himself and has to immediately piece the scene, so to speak. But 3 seconds left, 2, 1. Leviathan are able to get the contest though, because I Quack Like a Duck shoulder bashes onto the point, but he will lose his life for it. There's a Toxicat as well, but it's currently a 3v5 in favor of Crysis, who have small advantage and have the numbers advantage. The Toxicat time on point is being eroded away as there goes the Stone Warden, and Crysis defend successfully.
I am impressed by Crysis and their tenacity compared to first week. This time around, no matter what happens, they're still consistently doing what they need to do. We have Snost and Rip Julian both with only 1 death each on the side of Crysis, and that is not the case for Leviathan. They at least have 2 deaths or more per player, so Crysis are really playing this in a very effective defensive way. And now with multiple people on their team on elimination sprees.
Yeah, I should say the death counts are relatively low for these teams. It's more a case of when people are dying. Not how many times, but how impactful the time of death is going to be. And that's sort of what's deciding it here. But we're going for a second team fight onto the keep. Leviathan already spacing out onto the point as the Toxicat is capping that point, 24%. Crysis haven't really engaged the fight yet. But there goes the scout. Hopefully going to form a bit of a game plan here, but half the point fight is already gone. There's the Inflames, and I Quack Like a Duck is going to fall to Fraza.
P. James getting down getting down and dirty as he goes down. A perfect Dragon Punch from Toxi is connecting onto the Toxicat, their strongest front line for taking the point. Rip Julian trying to hold up the fort by going on high ground immediately at the side of Leviathan. Crysis are really holding up strong here, dealing the damage they need, and Fraza really showing that there's a reason why he's on the Androxus.
Another seismic crash going to come down onto Snoofy, but Maldoma is hitting him with the pocket heal, and unfortunately, it's too much damage for Snoofy to remain on that point. He has to back away. Leviathan just say, well, thank you very much, mate. We'll take that point off your hands. No problem. And I apologize for leaving you on such a bad transition. I forgot how to breathe.
Yes, you forgot that completely. And Snost in the backline of Crysis he's in trouble. He will definitely go down to tired with some very essential arrows. And this is already 50% towards conversion for the side of Leviathan. They are stealing, they are burglaring, and it seems that they are trying to get gold home.
P. James here forced out, having to take cover behind that wall and get a bit of regen going. But Leviathan keep the plane train rolling. It's past that archway, and once again, this is where we saw Crysis defend so beautifully in a previous opportunity here. The Toxicat is going to fall. The Solar Blade Beam is not going to find him, and Fraza getting the killing blow on that. Leviathan grouping up onto the right side high ground. A bit of a party going on up there. They're just waiting for the go-ahead. Noah is going to find himself pretty low, bit of 1v1 here with Fraza, who's after blood, but he's going to be met by the arrow from Tired. and a 4v5 in favor of Leviathan. Made out of free as Toxic goes down. Tired has activated his Heat Haze. He is after blood, picking up a rip. Julian, Leviathan keep the train rolling. Snoopy is too low to contest the point. He jumps down, but he dies immediately. Triple kill. Sorry, mate. Made that a quadra kill, going over to Tired.
Give me a second to process how much this guy is pulling off for his team. He first pulled off on the Willow, and now he's pulling off on the Shaolin as well. 10-3-3. What a beast. Even with net worth being completely in favor of Leviathan, there's still one holding strong on the side of Crysis with their beautiful Maldamba Snost. And with the damage dealt, we're just gonna say it as it is. That's the power of Cassie and Shaolin on a composition. The damage is too much. Let's go into round number 3, actually, of Crysis versus Leviathan.
Yeah, so let's see where they're going to take the fight. The Delta Cat going straight to the point. Crysis opting to set up inside the keep area. But again, Leviathan are more than happy to just hold Crysis at arm's length. It's almost like, with one of your siblings, it's when you push your head against their forehead and they're trying to get to you, and it's like, you're just out of reach. That's literally what Leviathan are doing here to Crysis. Crysis can't find an engage here. Immortal getting caught by Snoopy.
Yep, Frost actually got a hold on to him, man. Make that a double kill. He is definitely showing his true colors here for the side of Crysis. They are back at it again, getting Nauke as well. The Toxic Cat getting low and has to reposition himself. This is Crysis back at it again with that great defensive measure. But as well, we do know what Leviathan is capable of. I Crack Like a Dog is using his assert dominance to get on the point. And we also have an Inflame here on the point. Crysis right now on a very, very bad receiving end of pain. And Leviathan takes it 2-0.
Yeah, that was a very quick one. I was expecting a bit of overtime. I was expecting a bit of contest, but we saw that Crysis were just pushed off that point. And then, once again, Leviathan like, okay, we'll just take that straight off you.
Jay, my boy, welcome back.
Thank you. So, close game.
Yeah.
Crysis looked really strong. I like this team. They look really, really strong. But Leviathan did look stronger, bringing out the win in game number 2 as well. So that's a 2-0 for them. But both games, Crysis impressed me. They really did.
Definitely.
Really good games.
It's a new team completely.
Yeah, this is the team they wanted to show last week, but Bloodlust put a quick stop to that. I don't think Crysis can be too disheartened. Obviously, they're not going to be very happy with being on the receiving end of a loss, but they put up a fight and they showed some really good stuff as well. So, you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I think Crysis obviously have some other teams coming up in the next couple of weeks, so obviously they can get their wins in. But